भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, you are welcome for continuity of Bhakti Shastri. We are discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6. The name of the chapter 6 is Dhyana Yoga. So, in Dhyana Yoga, the connection between chapter 5 and 6, we have discussed the last verse number 27 and 28, which is the nutshell of the Dhyana Yoga, and elaboration is in chapter 6. So, the first section of the 6th chapter is advancing in yoga through detached work. The first 4 verses, advancing in yoga through detached work. First verse, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Anashritah Karam Phalam Karyam Karam Karoti Ya Sa Sannyasi Cha No Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Cha Kriya. Supreme Personality God had said, he who performs his work out of duty, karyam karam karoti ya. He performs his work out of duty, while not seeking result, nirashraya karam phalam. He has no desire for result of the work. He is a sannyasi and yogi. Yogi means nishkam karam yogi. Sannyasi means jnani. Sa sannyasi cha yogi. Not one who lights no fire, means doing yajna, and performs no work. Usually sannyasis, when they take sannyas, they are not obliged to light fire for cooking or any other things. So, no work is for jnani and no fire is for sannyasi. In the 6th chapter, the method of controlling the fickle mind. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the whole subject matter of the 6th chapter is method of controlling the fickle mind, achieved by the yogi who has controlled the senses through the process of Ashtanga Yoga is described. So in commencing the practice of Ashtanga Yoga, one should not suddenly give up Nishkam Karma Yoga, which purifies the heart. He who performs action prescribed by scripture as inescapable duty, karyam karam, without expectation of result, anashrita karam phalam, is called sannyasi, since he renounced the result of his actions. Samyak nyas. Sannyas means samyak nyas, means complete detachment. He is called a yogi because his mind does not dwell on enjoyment of object of senses. A person who merely renounces action, such as fire sacrifice, is not called a sannyasi. Nor is one who merely half closes eyes without external bodily activity a kriya called a yogi. Srila Prabhupada writes, in this chapter, Lord explains the process of eightfold yoga system is a means to control the mind and senses. However, this is very, very difficult for people in general to perform, especially in the age of Kali. So, Srila Prabhupada from the beginning has said we should not waste time in practicing this process because it will not be practical. Although the eightfold yoga system is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes that the process of karma yoga or acting in Krishna consciousness is better. This is a theme which is coming from chapter 3, 5 and now in the beginning of chapter 6. That karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. This is a theme of the Bhagavad Gita. It's one of the theme of the Bhagavad Gita. And I think there's an essay on this you have to write. Everyone acts in this world to maintain his body and their paraphernalia, which means house, family, etc. But no one is working without some self-interest, some personal gratification. Be it concentrated means oneself or extended means family, society, nation, etc. The criterion of perfection is to act in Krishna consciousness. To act means to work, and not with a view to enjoy the fruit of work. So who will enjoy the fruit? Krishna will enjoy the fruit. That is the act in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, we work to please the senses of Krishna, not our own senses. This is the central point of Bhagavad Gita we have studied in preface. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. By our senses, to please the master of the senses is called act in Krishna consciousness. To act in Krishna consciousness is duty of every living entity, because all are constitutionally part and parcel of the Supreme. The part of the body works for the satisfaction of the whole body. The limbs of the body do not act for self-satisfaction. Hand is working but not enjoying the rasgulla by itself. It has to put in the mouth, but for the satisfaction of the complete of whole body. Similarly, living entity who acts for satisfaction of the Supreme whole and not for personal satisfaction is the perfect sannyasi and a perfect yogi. So very scientific explanation. The sannyasis sometimes artificially think that they have become liberated from all material duties. Material duties means duties prescribed in a scripture for varna and ashram, and therefore they cease to perform agnihotra yajna, fire sacrifice. But actually they are self-interested. Why? Because their goal is to become one with the impersonal Brahman. This is their desire and highest desire. They are kami. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami. They are mukti kami. Such a desire is greater than any material desire. To become one with God, to become God is the greatest desire, but it is not without self-interest. Similarly, mystic yogi who practice the yoga system with half-open eyes, ceasing all material activities, desires some satisfaction for his personal self What is that? Yog Siddhis. So he is also kami. But a person acting in Krishna conscious works for the satisfaction of the whole without self-interest. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ateva Shant. So this is the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Sakale Ashanta Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ateva Shant. A Krishna conscious person has no desire for self-satisfaction. His criterion of success is satisfaction of Krishna. And thus he is the perfect sannyasi and our perfect yogi. Lord Chaitanya, the highest perfectional symbol of renunciation, means sannyas, prays in this way. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundaram, kavitam, vajagati, shakamai, mamjan, manijan, manishware, bhavatad, bhakti, ahi, tuki, twai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth, which means I don't need liberation either. So now we are going to the verse number 2. Yam sannyasam iti praho yogam tam vidhi pandava naya sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. O son of Parth, Pandav, know that the meaning of sannyas is the same as the meaning of yoga. Yam sannyasam iti praho means said. Yogam tam vidhi, know that, that's also yoga. One who has not given up desire in his action. A sannyasta sankalpa. Sankalpa means desire. A sannyas means not given up. Is never a yogi. Nahe yogi bhavati kaschan. The word sannyas means to be fixed in jnana. So sannyasi and jnani are equivalent word. Which is the third word which is equivalent to sannyas and jnana? Yes? Somebody can tell? I think in chapter 2 I have told this thing to you, if you remember.
Sankhya Yoga.
Yes, Sankhya, Gyan and Sannyas is equivalent. And what are the three words which usually Prabhupada is equivalent? Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga and
Bhakti Yoga
and
Buddhi Yoga.
And Buddhi
Yoga.
Yes, and Buddhi Yoga. Right. So the word sannyas means to be fixed in jnana, characterized by, what is that jnana? Stopping the function of all senses. The word yoga refers to controlling the internal functions. Yoga means Ashtanga Yoga, exactly. Yang means Chitta Vritti Nirodha. This is a technical word in Patanjali Yoga. Chitta Vritti means mind's thought. Nirodha means stopping. You have said the person is practicing jnana and yoga by performing karma yoga, whose sense is implying the senses. Because karma yoga senses are implied. What sense, vritti, of the word jnana and yoga produce this statement? O Pandav, know that the karma yoga, which the knower of the meaning called sannyas, jnana yoga, is none other than Ashtanga Yoga. We call man a lion because of similarity in qualities such as bravery. But what is the similarity here? What is the similarity between the jnana and yoga and sannyas? One who has not renounced desire for fruit of action, sannyas, sankalpa, cannot be either Jnani, Jnana Yogi or Ashtanga Yogi. So Jnana Yogi or Ashtanga Yogi, these are the two stages of the yoga. Yoga is one. Jnana is the lower stage and Ashtanga Yoga is a higher stage, Dhyan. Only one who has given up those desires can be either type of yogi, Jnana Yogi or Ashtanga Yogi. Because the similarity is giving up desire of action and Jnana, and similarity in stopping the internal function of the form of thirst for enjoyment in yoga. Both terms are used in describing the karma yogi. By taking a secondary sense of word, Gona Virti. Gona Virti means secondary characteristic. Srila Prabhupada writes, real sannyas yoga or bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada is taking karma as a bhakti. Real sannyas yoga or bhakti means that one should know his constitutional position as a living entity and act accordingly. So what Srila Prabhupada is actually saying is, the real sannyas yoga or jnana yoga means not to think that I am God, but to think that I am living entity and act according to that, and that is bhakti. The living entity has no separate independent identity. He is the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. When we are entrapped by material energy, it means when we have body, he is conditioned by three modes of material nature. And when he is Krishna conscious or aware of his spiritual energy, means identity, then he is in his real or natural state of life, means constitutional position, means Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. Therefore, when one is in complete knowledge of his self, one ceases all material sense gratification, because it is of the body, not soul, or renounce all kind of sense gratificatory activities. This is practiced by yogis. All ceases all material sense gratification or renounce all kind of sense gratificatory activities. Renounce all kind of sense gratificatory activities is a sannyasi or yogi. This is practiced by yogis. Yogis practice this, who restrain the senses from material attachment. But a person in Krishna consciousness is comparing with the yogi, Ashtanga yogi. But a person in Krishna consciousness has no opportunity to engage his senses anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. So one is stopping the function of senses, that is Ashtanga yogis, from sense object, and one is engaging all his senses in service of Krishna, that is devotee. So there is a similarity in the two. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is simultaneously sannyasi and yogi. The purpose of the knowledge of the soul and of restraining the senses, yogi, Ashtanga yogi, as prescribed in the Jnana and yoga, means Ashtanga yoga, is automatically served in Krishna consciousness. If one is unable to give up the activities of his selfish nature, enjoying, then Jnana and yoga are of no avail. He may be practicing Jnana, giving up all work, or he may be practicing yoga, controlling the senses, but his senses, selfish nature means merging in the Brahma or acquiring yoga siddhis. If he has two desires, then all his endeavors are useless. The real aim is for living entity to give up all selfish satisfaction and to be prepared to satisfy the Supreme. Krishna Priti Arthi. A Krishna conscious person has no desire for any kind of self-enjoyment. He is always engaged for the enjoyment of the Supreme. One who has no information of the Supreme must therefore be engaged in self-satisfaction, because no one can stand on the platform of inactivity, because action is the natural propensity of the living entity. He can never become inactive. All purposes are perfectly served by practice of Krishna consciousness. What all purposes? The purpose of Jnani and Ashtanga Yogi are automatically served by a person acting in Krishna consciousness. So this is one question, I think, in your question bank. How the person acting in Krishna consciousness is simultaneously Jnani and Yogi, Sannyasi and Yogi. So you should answer what we have just read. Sannyasi knows his position and Yogi restrains the senses from sense object. Krishna conscious person knows his self as Krishna's servant and he engages all his activities in pleasing Krishna rather than his own senses. Therefore he is sannyasi and yogi simultaneously. Now verse number 3. Ararukshur munir yogam karma karanam uchyate yogarosya tasya eva shama karanam uchyate. So there are two words in this verse. Araruksh means beginner. Arud means already achieved the perfection. So the one who is the beginner in the yogi, for him Nishkam Karma Yoga is necessary. But one who has achieved the perfection in yoga, he can stop all the activities of the senses. For a sage, Muni, wishing to attain yoga, yoga or Rukshur Muni, action is said to be the cause of elevation. For the sage who has already attained yoga, yoga arudha, cessation of action is said to be the cause of maintaining that state. Because he is in samadhi, if he uses the senses, then he will be distracted. But then the practitioner of Ashtanga Yoga would have to practice Nishkam Kam Yoga for his whole life? No. This verse therefore speaks of limits of Karma Yoga. Practitioner of Yoga, desiring to rise to the stage of steady meditation, which means samadhi, produces elevation by prescribed karma in the beginning, because that purifies his heart. Nishkam Karma purify the heart. One who has attained steadiness in meditation, yoga arudha, maintain the level by cessation of the actions which produce agitation. In other words, the aspirant for steady meditation does not have completely purified the heart. Srila Prabhupada, the process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga, definition of the yoga. It may be compared to ladder. This is the first word Prabhupada is using, yoga ladder. This is one of the question in our this first 6 chapters. Describe yoga ladder. So yoga may be compared to ladder for attaining the topmost spiritual realization. That is bhakti yoga. This ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity, which means vikrama. Lowest material condition means where people don't know the scripture rules and regulation, just living at animalistic platform, no problem, and rises up to the perfect self-realization in its pure spiritual life, means bhakti yoga. According to the various elevations, it means who is at what level. Different parts of the ladder are known by different names. The one who is at the level of Karma Yoga, there is the beginning. Then one comes to the Jnana Yoga, then one comes to the Dhyana Yoga, then one comes to the Bhakti Yoga. But all in all, the complete ladder is called Yoga and may be divided into three parts, namely Jnana, Dhyana and Bhakti. So Karma is the foundation on which there is Jnana and then Dhyana and then Bhakti. The beginning of ladder is the beginning of the ladder is called Yoga Aruruksha, beginning. And the highest rung is called Yoga Arudha. So what Srila Prabhupada is saying, we have to begin from Nishkama Karma Yoga at least, from the Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, and we should rise through Jnana Yoga to Dhyana Yoga and then to the ultimate top place called Bhakti Yoga. This is gradual process. There's a ladder and there's a lift. The lift is directly from whatever stage you are, you come in contact with devotee and then you practice devotional service and you go directly to the top without undergoing these different stages of the ladder. That is called Bhakti Yoga, direct. The beginning of ladders is called Yoga Aruruksh and the highest rung is called Yoga Arudha. Concerning the eightfold yoga, attempt in beginning to enter into meditation through regulative principle of life and practice of different sitting postures. So regulative principle of life means yam and name. And the practice of sitting posture is asana, number 3. Yam, name, asana. The asana is to control the senses, which are more or less bodily exercise, asanas, are considered fruitive material activities. All such activities lead to achieving perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses. How is this considered fruitive material activities? Now people are doing all these asana and pranayam simply for health or for some cure of disease. This is all material fruitive activities. When one is accomplished in practice of meditation, means samadhi, he sees all disturbing mental activities. Stop. A Krishna conscious person comparing, however, situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation, because he always think of Krishna. He has no beginning with fruitive activities. And being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. So, verse 4. Yada haina indriya artheshu na karamsu anusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga arustaduchyate.
Hare Krishna Public.
Yes.
Can I have one question here?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Regarding this meditation process, mind sometimes getting disturbed. Will this not help doing a little bit of meditation, bring the mind under control, kind of a peace, so then we can do better bhakti? In such case, is it not suggested?
See, meditation, we will see in upcoming verses. You should have a suchodeshe pratishtapya. You should have a pure place at the bank of river, away from the city. Sit on a special asana. The present day meditation in the cities, in the AC rooms is not meditation. So, for real meditation, there is a procedure which is not practical today. So, devotional service is a very easy and sublime and perfect process. And Prabhupada will write some of the purport. This yoga system was not even accepted by Arjun, who was the friend of Krishna and a great devotee, a great prince. And in Dwapar Yuga, when things were favorable, how can the person of Kali Yuga, rotting in the cities with all sense enjoyment, can practice yoga? So meditation for us is deity worship. Devotee meditate on lotus feet of Krishna, from feet to the beautiful face when he is doing dressing of the deity and decorating and putting ornament on the transcendental vigraha of the. This is a open eye meditation for the devotee.
Good. Thank you. Good answer. Thank you very much.
Swatantar, you have also a question?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, just now in the previous text you were talking about Dhyana Yoga in Prabhupada's explanation. Do we have Dhyana Yoga here in Krishna consciousness? Are we practicing?
That is called Krishna Man Krishna Padara Vindayo. Mind is always engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna.
So this is Dhyana Yoga.
This is the word actually for us. Actually, but I am saying Prabhupada used to say we have open eye meditation when we decorate the deity and do the deity worship. That is our real meditation. And when we go, if we are not doing ourselves, we go in the temple and meditate on the deity from the lotus feet to the lotus face and see how what beautiful ornament and dress deity has. That is our meditation. Not within the heart of the Paramatma, but directly of Radha Krishna and Gaur Nitai.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So when a person has no attachment, yadahi nas anusajjate, to the sense object or to action to attain them, indriya artheshu karamsu. Karamsu means action, indriya artheshu means sense object. Having renounced all desires, sarva sankalp sannyasi, he is called Yog Arud, one who has attained steady meditation, topmost stage of yoga. This verse speaks of characteristic of person who has attained steady meditation, Yoga Arud, one who has a completely pure heart. Pure heart means no enjoying mentality, senses or sense object or even mental. He is not attached either to the sense object, such as sound, nor to the action for attaining enjoyment of the senses, object of senses. Srila Prabhupada. When a person is fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he is pleased in himself, and thus he is no longer engaged in sense gratification or in fruitive activities. Transcendental loving service of the Lord. So basically speaking, this is not for us practicing devotee. This is one who has developed, who has awakened the love of God which is in everybody's heart. He is no longer engaged. Otherwise one must be engaged in sense gratification, since one cannot live without engagement. Without Krishna consciousness, one must be always seeking self-centered or extended selfish activities. But a Krishna conscious person can do everything for satisfaction of Krishna and thereby be perfectly detached from sense gratification. Early days devotee used to say, we were engaged almost whole day in Krishna consciousness and we were just lying down in the night to take rest, to get up early in the morning to start the service to Krishna. So we have actually no room for thinking of sense activity. So basically, if we are engaged properly by the spiritual master in the service of Krishna conscious activities, then we have no room for any material activity. Somebody's mic is on, please turn off. But a Krishna conscious person can do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna, thereby perfectly detached from sense gratification. One who has no such realization, see, because word is realization, we don't have realization. Please, whose mic is on? One who has no such realization must mechanically try to escape material desires before being elevated to top rung of the yoga's ladder. Mechanical way is the yoga. Mechanical way is Ashtanga Yoga. And natural way is devotional service. But realization means actually awakening love of God. It means we have to cross these stages from Ado Shardha, Sadhu Sang, Bhajan Kriya, taking initiation, Anarth Nivrti, which take a long time, to Ruchi, Nishta and Asakti. Then the Bhav is awakened, that is the stage of realization. Then you see Krishna and your action to please Krishna continuously. So it's not really superficial. Now, Yoga Arudha stage, giving up prescribed duties, 5 to 9. So now, in this section 2, we see the person who has attained perfection in Ashtanga Yoga. And Srila Prabhupada will simultaneously compare with the Krishna consciousness. Udharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadyet atmaiva hi atmano bandho atmaiva ripur atmanah. So the word in this verse Atma refers to mind. Only the first Atma. Udred means actually delivered. Udhar. Atmanam means by mind. Atmanam means soul. One who has delivered the soul by mind. One who should deliver the soul by mind. And then na atmanam avasadyet, not to degrade it. Na atmanam avasadyet means degrade. The mind is friend of soul. Atmaiva hi atmano bandhu. One Atma is mind, other Atma is soul. And its enemy as well. Atmaiva ripur means enemy. Atmana means soul. So Atma has a different meaning. Soul, body, even super soul, mind, everything according to the context. Since the soul has fallen into the well of samsara, which means repeated birth and death, by attachment to object of senses, with effort, one should deliver that soul. One should deliver this soul, Atmanam, by the mind which is devoid of attachment to the object of senses, Atmana. One should not let the soul fall into the well of samsara, by the mind which is attached to the object of senses. Therefore, mind, Atma, is both the friend and the enemy of the soul. Srila Prabhupada says the word Atma denotes body, mind, soul, depending upon different circumstances, means context. In the yoga system, mind and the conditioned soul are especially important. So conditioned soul practices the yoga, and the instrument by which he practices yoga is mind. Since the mind is central point of yoga, because that is the instrument, Atma refers here to the mind. The purpose of the yoga system is to control the mind, to draw it away from attachment to sense objects. It is stated herein that the mind must be so trained that it can deliver the conditioned soul from the mire of nescience, which means repeated birth and death. In material existence, one is subjected to influence of mind and senses, because mind and senses both are material. In fact, the pure soul is entangled in material world because the mind is involved with false ego, which desire to lord over the material nature, me and mine. False ego is me and mine. Therefore, mind should be trained so that it will not be attracted by guilt of material nature, and in this way the conditioned soul may be saved from nescience. One should not degrade oneself by attraction to sense objects. The more one is attracted by sense objects, the more one becomes entangled in material existence. The best way to disentangle oneself is to always engage the mind in Krishna consciousness as a companion. So you have to either stop mind going through senses to enjoy sense object, instead of allowing mind to go out through senses to sense object. You divert mind inside to the lotus feet of Krishna, introverted mind. Then the problem is solved. The word he is used to emphasizing the point. That is, that one must do this. Make mind friend, not enemy. There's another verse in Amrit Bindu Upanishad. Manehe manushanam karanam bandham mokshaya bandhaya visya sango muktaye nirvishyam manaha. Mind is the cause of bondage for the man if it is attached to the sense objects, and it is cause of the liberation of the man if it is not attached to the sense object. So a very simple example I used to give is, in your lock and key, you turn the key on one side, lock is locked. You turn the key on the other side, lock is open. So key of mind you turn to the material sense objects, it is bounding and it is enemy. You turn the mind towards Krishna's lotus feet, it is liberating, delivered, open and satisfied. Therefore, the mind which is always engaged in Krishna consciousness is the cause of supreme liberation. Verse number 6. Bandhuratmanas tasya. Bandhur means friend, Atmanas means mind, Tasya means of one. Yena atmaiva atmana jita, one who has conquered the mind. Anatmastu shatrutve, if mind is not controlled, is enemy. Varteta atmae shatruvat, and we behave like enemy. The mind is friend of the soul, which has conquered the mind. The mind is an enemy of that soul, which has not conquered the mind. The purpose of practicing Eightfold Yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission, which means liberation from material, repeated birth and death. Unless mind is controlled, the practice of yoga for show is simply a waste of time, which people are doing now around you everywhere. One who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy, and thus his life and its mission are spoiled. The constitutional position of living entities to carry out the order of the superior. As long as one's mind remains an uncontrolled enemy, one has to serve the dictation of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. So these are the tendencies of the mind. But when mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of personality of Godhead. One side is a dictation of Supreme Lord, other side is dictation of lust, greed, avarice, enviousness, all this, who is situated within the heart of everyone as a Paramatma. Real yoga practice until meeting Paramatma means realizing or seeing Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. Not only seeing, following his dictation. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness comparison with the yoga, directly perfect surrender to the dictation of Lord follows automatically. Because the representative of God, super soul, the Paramatma is inside and spiritual master is outside. So he directly guides according to the desire of Supreme Lord, the disciple on the path back, on the way back to home, back to Godhead. Verse number 7. How directly through his spiritual master. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahita शीतोषण सुख दुखेशो तथा मान अपमान योः. So these are the characteristics which can be observable when a person has achieved in the perfection of yoga. A yogi who has conquered his mind, jitatmana, and is devoid of all attachment, prashantasya. Prakashrena rupena sant means completely peaceful, because there is no agitation of mind. Has his soul situated in deep trance, atma param samahita. Param atma, paramatma samahita. Atma param samahita means soul is fixed on super soul. In all condition of heat and cold, happiness and distress, Sita Sukha Dukkha, Sita Ushana. Sita means cold, Ushana means hot. So it is dualities. And honor and dishonor. This is from other people. So he is equiposed because he is not looking in dualities. He is fixed on this Paramatma. 3 verses, now these 3 verses, show the qualities of person who has attained steady meditation, yoga arur. Srila Prabhupada, actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada is continuing the purport from previous verse, who is seated in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. Is our mind dictating our Paramatma is very difficult to understand. When the mind is misled by external illusory energy, Maya, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga system, one should be considered to have already reached the destination. One has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on superior nature, he has no alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme. Superior nature means at the level of this constitution of soul, not of the body, by false ego. The mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of Paramatma or Super Soul. Because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Krishna conscious comparison, The devotee of Lord is unaffected by the dualities of material existence, namely distress, happiness, cold, heat, and etc. This state is practical samadhi or absorption in the Supreme. Well, practically speaking, devotees in the early days living in the New Vrindavan, America, is cold, and literally they have to take bath early in the morning from ice cold water. They are not disturbed, they are doing it for Krishna. So Prabhupada used to tell to the Yamuna Mataji that by preaching in England, where every time there is a rain, you have become waterproof. Now you are living in Vrindavan and helping to establish this Krishna Balaram temple. It's very hot here. Now you have become fireproof. So you were waterproof previously, now you have become fireproof. So these are the practical example of the devotees in ISKCON which have actually tolerated heat and cold practically, and honor and dishonor practically. So Jnana Vigyan Triptatma Kutasto Vichitindriya Yuktati Uchyate Yogi Samlostra Samkanchana. Now this is the internal development of yogi. That is the external development. This is the internal development. Jnana Vigyan Triptatma. He who is satisfied with spiritual teaching means Jnana, and realization means Vigyan. Who is pervaded by one nature, Kutistha, which means never changing, fixed. Kut means fixed. The Kutist word, I think I must have discussed sometime with you. You know the Kutist word, what is the picture of Kutist word? Anvil of the goldsmith. The iron piece on which he makes so many ornaments. Ornaments change different shapes, but the iron piece remains same. That is called Kut. Yes, the Kut means hitting on some part, but it remains same. So he who is pervaded by one nature means in his nature is not changing from Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. Completely in control of senses, Vijitindriya. It's not Jintindriya. Vijit means complete. And who consider a lump of earth and stone and gold as same. For him, the gold, stone and earth are same. It means, and Prabhupada has a very wonderful commentary on these three words. Literally, he knows what is earth. He knows what is stone to be used for building temple. He knows gold to be used for ornamenting devotee or Lord. He knows this. But he has no attachment for that. Sama loshta ashama kanchana. So this is the internal development of the yogi. But Srila Prabhupada's purport is very interesting. Book knowledge without realization of supreme truth is useless. Gyan only is useless. This is stated as follows. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaveda grayam indriyahi sevano mukhyahi jivadav swayam eva sprudyada. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, qualities and pastime of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord, or the transcendental name, form, qualities and pastime of the Lord revealed to him. Revealed to him means realization. And this begins by jiva ado, means by tongue. And tongue has two functions. The speaking and tasting. The tongue who tastes the Krishna Prasad and we speak Krishna Katha and holy name, that person will gradually, to that person Krishna will gradually reveal himself. So when last time I am reading this, some other places, this two words, same verse quoted somewhere else. And then I was thinking, when Srila Prabhupada said, I spread this movement by two things, Kirtan and Prasad. It means Srila Prabhupada has practically engaged the tongue of the conditioned soul in these two activities, Kirtan and Prasad. And therefore, Krishna became pleased with them and revealed to them the glories of the holy name, form and qualities of Krishna. This is my realization last night, that Prabhupada gave us two strong, powerful methods of chanting and honoring Prasad, and chanting and distributing Prasad. Because giving holy name is greatest gift we can give to the mankind. What to speak of mankind, to all living entities. So this is the really Prabhupada has given the best, topmost procedure for revealing God. This Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. Only Gyan is useless, Prabhupada is saying. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. Means you have to get realization when you come in contact with devotees. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge through his service by tongue. By the grace of Krishna, because Krishna revealed to him, because he is satisfied by pure devotional service, chanting and honoring Prasad. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his conviction that Krishna will always protect me. Krishna will always help me to be successful. That is called Nishchaya, conviction. But by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradiction, because books have always contradiction. It is revealed soul, it is realized soul, who is actually self-controlled, because he is surrendered to Krishna. It means realization comes by surrender. And then he is controlled by Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship, mental speculation, which may be gold as good as gold for others, means jnanis, are of no greater value than pebble and stone for a devotee. It means he is not attracted by speculative jnani and karmis, actually speaking. They are for him like the pebble and stone. They may look gold for the others. So Prabhupada's analogy, he has compared the gold with the jnanis, and which is like a pebble or stone for a devotee. Verse number 9. So here, this is his behavior with other people. That was with other things, now with other people. So here, mitrari udasin madhyastha dveshu bandhusu sadhushu apicha papeshu samudhir visishyate. He is better, visishyate, who sees natural well-wisher, Soherd, the friend, Mitra, and neutral, Udasin, the mediator, Madhyastha, the enemy, Dveshya, and Bandhu, relative, the sinner, Papeshu, and pious person, Sadhu, as same. This is the stage of a yoga arud. He considers all the different contradictory or similar things equal with equal vision. He who sees friend and enemies as equal is superior to the yogi who sees stone and gold as one. So this is stone and gold is material thing, but to see the friend and enemy equal is a higher stage. The Sohrit is one who by his very nature desire another person's benefit. There are only 3 Sohrit in the world. The Supreme Lord Krishna is well-wisher of everybody. We may remember him, we may call upon his name, we may serve him or not, but he's always accompanying us as a super soul in whatever body we transmigrate. The other Sohrit in material world is mother. We may do any nonsense, but she is always well-wishing for the child. And the third well-wisher is spiritual master, who always want, Prabhupada used to write at the end of his letter, you are ever well-wisher, Sohrit. The other people are friends, relatives, well, but not the Sohrit. Mitra is one who actually does beneficial act for another person out of affection. Ari is one who desires another's misfortune, enemy, due to not having affection. If the person has affection, he is a friend. If he has no affection, it means he is against Dveshu, so you don't want to have his good fortune. Udasin is one who is neutral to 2 arguing parties. Madhyast is one who attempts to stop the dispute. Dvesh is one who deserves to be hated because of his desire to enjoy another person. Bandhu is the person who desires one's benefit because of the family relationship. The sadhu is one who follows dharma, and pap is one who does not follow dharma. Very nice, simple definition of words. Now we are going to the next section, further stages and practice of yoga. It means now starting from the beginning. This will go till verse number 32. So these are the stages of yoga from the beginning, where to start practicing yoga to the ultimate success. We can do the 2-3 verses because today I have a heavy duty work. I have a next class starting 3 hours for Bhakti Vaibhav and next 2-hour class for the Bhakti Shastri is 3. So I don't think I can continue more. Yogi yunjit satatam atmanam rahsi stitah ekaki yatchitatma nirashir aparigraha. The Yoga Arudha, yogi means one who has achieved the perfection, should always absorb his mind in samadhi. Atmanam yunjit satatam. Satatam means always. Atmanam means mind. Yunjit means engage in meditation. Living alone in solitary place. Ekaki, rahsi. Ekaki means alone. Rahsi means in solitary place. Sthita means stay. Being controlled in mind and body. Yat chit atma. Yat means careful. Chit atma means about his mind and senses. Without desire and without possessiveness. Nirashi, asha means desire, and aparigraha means no possessiveness. The yogi perform yoga with its angas, limbs. That description starts with this verse and ends with a yogi parmo mataha in 32. He who has attained the stage of yoga arur, the stage of study meditation, should remain engaging mind in samadhi. Srila Prabhupada. Krishna is realized in different degrees as Brahm, Paramatma and Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. The Krishna consciousness means coincidentally to be always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, which means not Brahm and Paramatma but Bhagavan. But those who are attached to the impersonal Brahm, Jnani, or the localized Paramatma, Yogi, are also partially Krishna conscious because they are aspect of Yoga, Krishna. Because the impersonal Brahm is the spiritual ray of Krishna and super soul is our pervading partial expression of Krishna. Partial, therefore they have partial realization. Thus the impersonals and meditators are also indirectly Krishna conscious, indirectly. The directly Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist. Because such a devotee knows what is meant by Brahma and Paramatma. He knows both, which because it includes within Bhagavan. His knowledge of absolute truth is perfect. He knows all three. Whereas the impersonal and meditative yogis are imperfectly Krishna conscious. They are not directly. They are indirectly and imperfectly. So the one who knows the Brahm knows the Sat aspect of the Supreme Lord. The one who knows the Paramatma, he knows the Sat and Chit aspect of the Super Soul. But the one who knows Bhagavan, he knows all three, Sat, Chit and Anand. Nevertheless, all of these are instructed here with to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuit. Jnani in his Jnana, Yogi in his Yoga, and devotee in his devotional service, so that they may come to the highest perfection sooner or later. Sooner the devotee, later the other. The first business of the transcendentalist, anyone, Jnani, Yogi or devotee, is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. This is a verse of Padma Purana. Satatam smartavya Vishnu na visamrta kadachin jatuchit. So first is rule, always remember Krishna. Second is the regulation, never forget Krishna. If we take these two, there is only one rule and regulation. All the rules and regulation of the scripture are servant to this one rule. Concentration of the mind on Supreme is called Samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in circulation alone and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect the realization, pratikul and ankul. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things, aparigraha, and awaken him by feeling of possessiveness. All these perfection and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness. Because direct Krishna consciousness means self-abnegation, wherein there is very little chance for material possessiveness. Everything belongs to Krishna. We take our share and use it in service of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami characterized Krishna consciousness in this way. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accept everything in relation to Krishna, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Nirbandha means not attached to anything. Krishna Sambandhe means use everything for the service of Krishna. One is rightly situated above possessiveness. Yukta Vairagi. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of the relationship to Krishna, Parpancha Buddhya, is not complete in renunciation. This is called Phalgu. This is Yukta Vairag, and this is called Phalgu Vairag. These are the two verses in Bhakti Nectar of Devotion. Yukta Vairagya and Phalgu Vairagya. A Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feeling of personal possession. This is for the self-realized person, not for us. We possess things. Maybe for service of Krishna, but we think the beautiful Prabhupada's quarter on 5th floor in Prabhupada Tower was built in Bombay. Prabhupada entered in that. He said, well, I'm an old man now, I have to leave. This all you have to use. He was not attached. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, oh, you are this place, your quarters are, I think, Hare Krishna, I think computer charging is over, so it may take a few minutes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I know my computer power is gone, so I am connecting again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Prabhuji's laptop battery has gone down completely.
I'm
We'll join back. So,
Hare Krishna. I am back. Hare Krishna, I am here. Hare Krishna. Alright, Haribol. Yes. So as such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. What I was telling that we are not self-realized, we think things belongs to us. But Prabhupada has given up everything, whatever he was possessing in the end. Even those who were serving him, he gave them some money also. Anyway, you serve me, so give this to him. Keep this for this purpose. So they are not attached to anything, everything is for Krishna. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So, these are the symptoms of surrender. Anukula, accept the favorable thing, pratikul virjanam. And those who are unfavorable, reject those. These are two of the symptoms out of 6 of surrender. He is always aloof from the material things because he is always transcendent and he is always alone. Having nothing to do with the person, not in Krishna consciousness. Alone means not having association with non-devotees. Therefore, person Krishna conscious is perfect yogi. How the person Krishna conscious is perfect yogi? You have to write this. So next two verses speak how to begin yoga and where to begin. Suchodeshe pratishthapya strimasnamatmanah nati uchirtam nati nicham chailajan kushotram tatraikagram na manakritva yachitindriya kriya upavishyasane yunjayad yogamatma vishuddhaye. Establishing his own solid asan, atmanah, oneself, istrim, asanam, solid asan, seat, pratishtapya. He should establish his own asan. In a clean place, sucho deshi. Not too high, not too low. Na ati uchistaram, na ati nicham. With a kush, then deer skin and cloth on the top. Chaila, ajina, kushatram. Kusha is a grass, and then chail and ajan, which means the deer skin and cloth. Ekagram manakrita, controlling the activities of mind and senses. Yachitindriya kriyaha. Ekagram manakritva. He should engage in yoga, yogam yunjayat, for purification of consciousness. Atma Shuddhi, or purifying mind. So this is the beginning of yoga. Two verses speak of sitting place. What is the Sucho place? What is the pure place? Bank of Ganga, mountain, cave. Chail is soft clay, soft cloth, and soft deer skin, ajin. The asana for one's own use. This is one line is very important. Anyway, we are not actually practicing this in Krishna consciousness, but actually, when we chant at least holy name, we should have our own asana and we should sit on that. And every person has his own asana. He should not. That's if he has his own asana, this is more concentrated and conscious way of doing the things. So we should have our own asana, sit on that asana, and do not exchange the asana or mala or our japa beaks with anybody else. It's forbidden to use another person's seat, as that is unfavorable for yoga practice due to uncertainty of another's consent to use that seat. One should sit rather than stand or lie down. Vedanta say asina sambhavat. One should sit because then meditation is possible. Srila Prabhupada writes, sacred place refer to place of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in the sacred place such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, Haridwar, and are in solitary practice yoga, in solitude practice yoga, where the sacred river like Yamuna and Ganga flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so-called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for actual practice of yoga. One who is not self-controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in Brihadaranyaka Purana, it is said that in Kali Yuga, when people in general are short-lived, slow in spiritual reaction, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means of spiritual reaction is chanting holy name of God. Hare Nam eva kevalam. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So I think we stop here today. You have any question or comment? Now how the body should be maintained. Now seat is maintained, place is maintained. Now we use our body, sit in a particular asana. And then will come the pranayama and other thing. So any question or comment? I think 3 more classes we will finish this. Then our
Probably comment. It is very difficult to detach from the sense objects.
So all these sense objects used in service of Krishna. Sense object for eye is some beautiful mango. Take it and offer to Krishna and honor Krishna Prasad. So anything which is attractive senses, just offer to the senses of Krishna. Rishikena Sevanam. That is bhakti. So in bhakti we are not to detach anything, but we have to attach anything instead of to our senses to Krishna's senses. I have beautiful wife. Krishna has given me that we both can serve Krishna together. She will cook nice bhoga for Krishna. I will offer to Krishna and we both will honor Prasad. Or we will beget the Krishna conscious children and try to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. In this way, all sense objects should be used in Krishna consciousness. Swatantra.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, all the Ashtanga Yoga steps, they are included in Krishna conscious movement also. Can you please relate little short one line?
It's not yet complete. When we finish chapter, you can put things from the different purports. Prabhupada in the morning when people were chanting, he said, sit properly. This is what you can hear. It means he wants us to sit in a proper asana. And then he said, yam and name, already we are got for regularity principle. Chanting Harinam is our yam and name. Asana is sit properly and for 2 hours at least and chant your holy name. And our pranayam is automatically, Prabhupada, when he went to the yoga studio of Mishra, then that Mishra said, well, what we are teaching our students that you are automatically doing when you are doing the kirtan and swinging here and there. The most of all the pranayam, everything is automatically accomplished. And our meditation is, our dhyan, our samadhi is deity worship. So our pratyahara is we don't possess anything, everything belongs to Krishna. We build the home for Krishna and we live in a corner just as a servant. So we have all these things in our life, but we have to realize this.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any other question or comment? Are you doing the open book question something or everything is already done?
For open book assessment, they have given one topic, Prabhuji. For open book assessment, they have given a topic.
Okay,
It says, topic says,
so complete those and then close book questions also you try to answer as we do, then it would be nice and easy for you when you appear in exam. It's not difficult.
Yeah. So the close book means like there is one booklet where there are set of questions, sample questions. So all these questions will be from that question bank only?
99%. One may be surprising, not more than one.
Okay. If you are practicing those sample questions, then I think that's good enough to pass.
Okay, good. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatrubhyasya kripa sindhubhya